Welcome to Rockpool Safari. I'm Dave Fairlamb of Natural.links, and today we're going to be exploring the tide pools around the Isle of Wight. Two things you need to go rock pooling is you need a good net, and this one is really good because you can have it short or it actually pulls out. So you can reach a bit further across into the water with this extended rod, and you need a pole. And this one's good because it's a clear plastic and you can see through it, and it helps you to look down into the water as well. When you're down at the seaside and you're going to go rock pooling, you have to make sure that it is at low tide. And you can see when the tide is far away from the beach, so it has to be at low tide so that it's safe to go rock pooling. And you should always be accompanied by an adult or a parent or a guardian. Seeing some fish. I mean, see, normally this is just heaving of fish. Go into the water, the tentacles come out, and you've got these are beadlet anemones, really small. It's a really small one across here, and you can see all of those tentacles, and they're reaching out, and they're going to take tiny little plankton and other small creatures that they feed on. You actually see them moving. They can have up to about 200 tentacles. To take it just out of the water, you'll see that the tentacles all disappear. They get all tucked up inside that jelly mass. There's another one. Same thing. And then put them back in, which we should always do, of course. Back into the water. Decided not to come out. Oh, there's a bit of treasure there. Think of that. Quite natural. It's a golf ball. What's that little shell? See one of these winkles actually moving. Oh, he's just falling off. Be alright though. These are lots of different types of winkles on here. You can see a few more sea anemones. There's a very small little limpet here. These are all mollusks. And they've got really soft bodies, and that means that they have to have shells to protect themselves. A bit like when you're in your garden and you see garden snails. They're mollusks too. And these shells here, got one here, they've got lots of spirals and lots of lines on. You can see one just in the water here as well. These are top shells, another type of mollusk. And they're going to sit on the rocks in the water, and then when the tide's back in, they'll be a bit more active, just like that winkle was before. turn this over. No. There. Yes, we've got a little shore crab here. Just down in here, it's very green. They can be all different colours, but they're all shore crabs. In fact, there's two. There's a small one on top of it there as well. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get it with a net. They're so small. I might be able to just. There we go. There's the other one. Yeah, we've got a couple of shore crabs in here. We got from under those rocks, and they're all different colours. Sometimes they're green, sometimes they're brown. They can even look a little bit reddish at times. But they're all called shore crabs. And these are just quite young, maybe a year or so old. And they might grow to about 4 times the size. And because the shell is on the outside, and when they need to grow, they need to almost peel the shell off, and they will go through what's called a molt. They'll molt off the shell, and then they'll just be soft for a little time, and then the new shell will harden up. So they have to be hidden away, especially when they've got a soft shell. And they might have to do that about 20 or 25 times during their lifespan before they reach being an adult shore crab. So you can see that these shore crabs, they've got 10 legs, but the front two, you see on this green one and the brown one, the front two have developed into claws. That's what they grab their food with and bring it to their mouths, which are just in the middle of the shell here at the front. And on the back legs, you can just see, it almost looks like little frills along the back of the legs. And although they mainly crawl, move sideways, they can swim a little bit, and they use these frills on the back legs to push themselves through the water. And sometimes you can see where birds have been feeding out in the rock pools. They may not be here at the moment, maybe flown off, but this is bird poo. And this is from a Brent goose. It's quite a big one. And you can see a bit of green in there as well. And that's because they've been feeding on some of the green seaweeds that we get around on the rock pools and the beaches around the Isle of Wight. So in some of the rock pools, you get lots of seaweed. There's over 200 types of seaweed that you find around the shores around the Isle of Wight. And this is often called, this lovely long one here, this is often called mermaid's hair, and you can see why. And then there's a lovely one here, it's very soft to the touch. And this one, and you can see, it's like the antlers or the horns of a deer, and that's where it gets its name from. It's called velvet horn. And in the summertime, it's really bright green, but of course, at darker days of the winter, it's just a little bit duller. And you can see it's all split into horn shape. And on the rock here, we can see quite a lot of limpet shells. And the soft bodies are inside, but when the tide is out and they're just out in the air here, they actually clamp right down onto the rocks. And you can see them all really secure. And they're so secure, you can see there's a bit of seaweed on this one, that nothing can get in there, and it's totally tight and it can keep nice and moist inside the shell. But when the tide is in, and if this was covered with water, with the sea, they would then lift their suction foot up and they'd be able to move around the rocks. And you can sometimes see where they've been, and this one may have been eaten by a seagull or something like that, but you can actually see this round area here, and this is where a limpet used to be, where it's been, it's almost its home, where it clamps down on the rock. Oh, we've got another type of shell. There's a little crab in here. There's one that's moved across here. He's just hidden behind the rock, and we've got another type of, got a little spiral shell here. So that's the Brent geese flying off now because the tide's coming in, so it's time for us to leave. I hope you've enjoyed this seaside adventure, and we'll see you next time for another Rockpool safari.